317 Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of liberty for those accused and the pursuit of justice for those injured. Liberty Law Group's relentless trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and personal injury law. Navigating the legal system can be stressful, overwhelming, and full of uncertainty. Liberty Law Group is here to do the heavy lifting for you. We believe in treating every client with respect and understanding. When you're in need of legal assistance, trust Liberty Law Group to fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake. Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now. Ticketmaster.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Husker fans, your fourth-ranked Nebraska wrestling team needs you to pack the Bob Devaney Sports Center on Friday, January 12th for their Big Ten home opener and a top 5 matchup against number 2 Iowa. The duel will begin at 6:30, and the first 300 fans will receive a Nebraska wrestling shirt. For more information or to secure your tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
This is Adam Carriker on the ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome, everybody, to Adam Carriker on the Ticket. It's a Monday edition. Hopefully, you're not having a case of the Mondays. It's interesting when I say having a case of the Fridays, it has such an upbeat, positive tone to it. When I say the case of the Mondays, it's like, oh. Anybody see that movie, Office Space? I love that movie. Talk about slow-moving, dull, hilarious humor. Freaking phenomenal. My wife has never once made it all the way through that movie without falling asleep. I've watched it no less than a dozen times. She's taken no less than a dozen naps every time we try to watch that movie together. A case of the Mondays. I mean it in a positive manner. You know why? Because I get to sit here and I get to do what I do, which is talk sports. Husker sports, college football. We got a small game that might matter just a smidge tonight. I think two teams you may have heard of, Michigan, okay, and Washington going to play tonight for the national championship. Clearly the two best teams in the country, the only two undefeated teams left in college football. It's such a contrast in styles. Okay, anybody who thinks you have to play football a certain way to win, you're crazy. You clearly didn't grow up watching football. And tonight, either team could win. I know Michigan's favored, and I'll give my prediction a little bit later. I gave it on Friday. I said I had the right to change it. And maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. We'll find out throughout this fine program. Okay. And Frank Solich, it's being reported per Rico. So if it's wrong, I'm throwing Rico under the bus. But I doubt if it is, or I wouldn't bring it up on air because I trust Rico. Apparently, Frank Solich has been elected into the College Football Hall of Fame, and that is phenomenally phenomenal. Going to talk college football, Husker sports, Frank Solich, and a whole plethora of other things. I hope everybody's having a wonderfully positive case of the Mondays. All right, before we light this candle, always remember the GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, great accents for any backyard landscaping project. They sell to homeowners and contractors, and they deliver anywhere, near or far. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Check out GELandscapeSupply.com or call 402-467-1627. And as always, the last 10 minutes of this program, the People's segment. Call or text your questions, thoughts, concerns, or otherwise. 402-464-5685. That's 402-464-5685. All right, so there's a former player's large email thread, okay? And Red Baron, okay, basically has put it together, and he keeps us all up to date on everything. Much appreciation and love to Red. And there's interactions in these emails, and you don't hear it talked about much because it's pretty much private between players. Every once in a while, Coach Osborne will write something in there. Now, I've seen this multiple places on social media. So if it's been out there, okay, I feel like it's okay because other people have probably seen it by now. I'm not the only one with social media. At least I believe that. Okay. And I do think people would find it interesting if you've not heard this. Now, I'm not going to go on a whole bowl game rant again. Full disclosure, I meant to read this on Friday, and I completely forgot. So here we go, doing it on Monday. All right. So here's Coach Osborne's email that he sent out. I recently watched both episodes of Day by Day this past week and watched most of the bowl games on TV. I was struck by the contrast between the focus and commitment of the players interviewed in Day by Day and the number of players who chose not even to play in their team's bowl game. One of the hallmarks of those of you who played at Nebraska, not just in the 90s, but for several decades, was an unusual work ethic and commitment to excellence. I want to thank you all for your efforts, as such dedication is becoming more unusual and has changed the landscape of college football. It was my privilege to have been associated with so many of you over an extended period of time. Hope the new year treats you well, and thank you again for all you contributed to Nebraska football. Tom Osborne. So, again, I'm not going to go on a whole bowl game rant. Those are shows for the offseason, plenty of things to talk about. The fact is, bowl games are dead. They don't matter what they used to. People are opting out right and left. I don't care if people want to make them seem important. Oh, the young players get to play. Oh, it's, in my opinion, it's like an NFL preseason game. It's the really good players don't want to play. The young players are getting to play. It's an exhibition game that doesn't really matter. Okay, and so I thought in Coach Osborne's very classy way of saying it, he was saying he appreciates the dedication, the hard work, the excellence that everyone put in here at the University of Nebraska, guys who played, guys who've coached, everyone associated with the football program, including those who played in bowl games. And he wasn't saying anything negative about those who don't, just pointing out the difference. I'll be a little bit more blunt and say that bowl games are dead and they don't matter and we need to do something to fix it. But that's a topic for another day. I just appreciated Coach Osborne's message to all the former players. And again, I'd seen it out there a couple places, so I felt comfortable sharing it. Now let's talk about Coach Frank Solich, all right, being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Now it's Michael Vick, Frank Solich, and Dewey Selman elected into the College Football Hall of Fame. So Coach Solich, he's the guy that recruited me. He's the guy that I committed to play for. I remember, I may have shared this before, I don't remember, but I was always in charge. My parents wanted me to learn how to be, kind of somewhat sort of self-sufficient when I got on my own. Now, I will not tell you that a week after I met my now wife, Angie, was the first time she ever did my laundry for me. I won't throw that out there. No, that never happened. That's for sure. I was kind of sort of somewhat self-sufficient. I remember the first ever meal I had on my own. All right, so I arrived 2 weeks before fall camp going into my true freshman year. I slept on former defensive end Justin Smith's couch. Loved every minute of it. Played video games all day. Worked out. Didn't have, I guess I did have the job at the stadium. Okay, and I was in charge of taking care of certain fields and things of that nature. But I was basically the first meal I ever actually cooked for myself when I was on my own. I guess it would have actually been after I got out of the dorms, because I usually just shared meals with Justin, and then I was in the dorms and things of that nature. So it would have been the summer going into my redshirt freshman year was a gigantic plate of bacon. Okay, when I say gigantic, I'm talking like 3 to 4 dozen pieces of bacon. I love bacon. I am a bacon snob. I'll just be honest. I am a bacon SNOB snob. It was 3 to 4 dozen pieces of bacon, 36 to 48. That was the entire meal. I thought it was phenomenal. I probably took about 5 years off my life with that one meal. But random sidebars, get back to the main story. I was always in charge of making supper every Sunday night throughout high school, starting my freshman year all the way through senior year. And so I love breakfast. Okay. So it was always breakfast for supper every Sunday night. And I remember Coach Solich and Coach George Darlington were at my house, paying me a nice little recruiting visit. And I made cornbread, like a big pan of cornbread, bacon, of course, and eggs and toast and all that. And then my dad actually taught me to dip the toast into the egg yolk, which I thought was disgusting when I first saw him do it when I was like 6 or 7. And then I tried it, and it's one of the most beautifully delicious things ever. Now I freak my kids out by doing it because they just won't even try it. I mean, what's wrong with those people? Just try it. Good grief. It's God's blessing on earth in yellow and toast. Okay. So I will never forget. I'm putting the food in front of them, and they both looked at me, Coach Darlington and Solich, just like they had no idea. Was this going to be awful? I mean, to this day, I was like, did you think I was going to poison you? Like, what did you think it was? I will readily admit, I'm not great at cooking many things, but breakfast, I'm very good at. Haven't done an omelet. That always looked too complicated to me. But everything else, I'm very, very good at cooking breakfast. And so Coach Solich, he was, when I did the conditioning test and I passed out and I had to be gated off the field, he was the guy that was there with me and for me when I first got to Nebraska. We had the old 300-yard shuttle conditioning test. And I've shared that story before. Maybe I'll share it again another day. But Coach Solich was the man that recruited me, the man I committed to play for. And he obviously went on, he did some good things at Nebraska, went on to do some really good things at Ohio. I believe the field there is named after him. I love that he was honored back here last spring, here at the University of Nebraska during the spring game. And now he has received this honor today as well. And I think it is very, very well deserved. So I'm happy to hear it, to see it. Congratulations, Coach Frank Solich. All right, let's chat a smidge about this small college football game tonight. The national championship. You got Michigan. You got Washington. All right, when you look at this game, Washington comes in with the number 1 pass offense in the country. They average 350 pass yards a game. Okay, Michael Penix, all right, Penix, I'm saying it right today. Michael Penix Jr., has passed for 4,648 yards this season. That's tops in all of college football. All right, Bo Nix had a great year, more than Bo. Shadur Sanders, well, he was running for his life, which I didn't, not that I want anyone to get, in trouble physically, but I just enjoyed him not having Colorado, anytime they lose, it's a great day. As hot as he started, he did not finish quite the same. Now, they've got an entirely 5 new different offensive linemen, so I'm curious to see how that goes this year. Like you didn't think Coach Bryan was going to bring in some guys to try to protect his son. That was the first thing he did. Smart move. My point is, Michael Penix Jr. had more passing yards than him. Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner. So you got the top passing offense, the top quarterback when it comes to just straight up passing in all of college football. Okay. And you got 3 NFL wide receivers on that Washington offense. All right. You've got, see if I wrote down their names here amongst my 4,000 notes. Okay. Rome Odunze, outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., top wide receiver in the entire country. Okay. Jalen Polk, Jack Westover. Don't overlook Jeremy Bernard. Like, they've got 3 NFL wide receivers. They've got an elite playmaking difference-making guy in Odunze. Okay. They have NFL wide receivers. They have the top passing quarterback in the country. Oh, by the way, were you aware that their offensive line won the award for the top offensive line in the entire country? So Michigan had their offensive line had won it 2 years in a row. Okay. And Alabama had won it the 2 years before that. So it was Alabama 2 in a row. Michigan's offensive line won it 2 years in a row. And now Washington's offensive line was named the top offensive line in the entire country. Okay. At the end of this regular season. So you got the best passing quarterback. You got the best offensive line in the country. You've got the best trio of wide receivers, the best receiving core in the entire country. I'm excited to watch what they can do against the number 1 scoring defense in the country, which is Michigan. They give up 10 points a game. The number 1 total defense in the country, which is Michigan. They give up 243 yards per game. And I'm not going to waste, I'm not going to waste time talking about sign stealing and all that. There's a game to play. It's been talked about ad nauseum this year. These are the stats, okay? They're the number 2 pass defense in the country, 150 yards a game. Now, you can argue they didn't play a plethora of great offenses this year. The best teams they played this year, Penn State fired their offensive coordinator. Ohio State, quarterback didn't even come back, although they've got an absurd amount of talented guys out on the edges, wide receivers, running backs, galore, a lot of talented guys. And you could argue Marvin Harrison kind of shredded them a little bit, okay? Then they play Alabama, one of the best teams in the country, right? Well, what's the one thing they really don't do well? They don't throw the ball short to intermediate well at all. It was run the ball. Okay, Jalen Milroe makes plays with his legs and deep play action games, which once Michigan took that away, Alabama's offense really struggled. This is by far the best, most prolific, not just passing offense, but offense that Michigan will have faced this year. This is also, and Washington has played 7 ranked teams this year. Okay, teams in the top 10, top 15, top 5. All right. When they beat Oregon that second time, because I really thought highly of Oregon, and I still do. And they were clearly the better team on the field. It wasn't like, I actually thought Oregon outplayed them the first time up in Seattle, but Washington found a way to win. That second game, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick Oregon because I thought they were the better team the first time on the road. This is neutral field. It's hard to beat a really good team a second time. And so I really thought Oregon was going to win. And I thought they might be decisively the better team on the field. I was completely wrong. Washington, it was a 3-point game, but if you watch that game, Washington was clearly the better team on the field. There was a separation of about 10 points for most of the game between the two teams. Now, you could say the same thing with Washington and Texas in the CFP game. They were clearly the better team on the field for 59 minutes and 10 seconds, and then they found a way to make it too interesting, those last 50 seconds. Way too interesting. What have they won? 10 one-score games this year, Washington has. So they have a knack, not a knack. They know how to win one-score games. Could they make a quick trip to Lincoln? I'd like to meet with them. How do we bring that to Husker country? But that's a topic for another day. Because here's the other thing that scares me about them. When they are clearly the better team on the field, they still find a way to make it a one-score game. They may know how to win them, but when you keep having them, one-score games, you're eventually going to lose a game, even if you shouldn't. And that's the thing that makes me nervous about Washington. I'm not convinced they're better than Michigan. But even if they are, and they find a way to make it a one-score game, at some point, you're going to get tripped up. Now, I'm not giving away my prediction just yet. So, Michigan, number 1 scoring defense, number 1 total defense, number 2 passing defense, number 3 pass efficiency defense. And I found this interesting because Ohio State was the number 1 pass defense in the country. When it came to pass efficiency defense, Michigan was 3, Ohio State 2. Notre Dame, out of nowhere, was number 1. That was surprising to me. The keys to the game, in my opinion, tonight, okay, for Washington, I'm going to surprise people after everything I just said. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to be balanced. I'm going to harken back to 1995, that 96 Fiesta Bowl, the fun and gun, a Florida offense that threw the ball over 85% of the time. Then you played a Nebraska team that ran the ball over 85% of the time. The reason, there were several reasons. Nebraska was just maybe the greatest team ever, probably the greatest team ever in 95. But Florida was predictable. You knew they weren't going to run the ball. You weren't in any way, shape, or form worried about them running the ball. If Michigan knows Washington has to pass the ball, they will be able to get after Michael Penix Jr. Maybe not as well as they got after Alabama and Jalen Milroe, because Alabama's offense, they had 3 guys that are 350 pounds plus. Great run blockers, awful pass blockers. Washington's O-line is the best O-line in the country for multiple reasons. Okay, Michael Penix Jr. gets rid of the ball quick and fast, and he's decisive. But here's the deal. If Michigan knows you have to pass, you're in trouble. Washington, okay, passed the ball 61% of the time in the CFP game, which means they ran at 39% of the time, almost a 60-40 split. Now, they didn't just run the ball all over Texas, but they run the ball more than well enough to be balanced, and that helps their passing attack. So Washington has to stay balanced on offense. Number 2, they got to win the turnover battle. Here's the deal. Michigan is number 2 in the country in turnover margin. Washington is tied for 53rd. Washington, they have to take care of the football. It's that simple. Michigan's going to try to control the ball, control the clock. And any extra possessions that Washington gives them or possessions that they lose offensively, it's going to be an even bigger deal for Washington than I think it even was for Michigan. Number 3, and most importantly, in my opinion, Michael Penix Jr. is the X factor in this game. He is the X factor in this game. And I simply wrote, Michael Penix Jr., do your thing. If he comes out and has a bad game, Washington has no chance. And that's just the fact of the matter. The pressure's on his shoulders. Doesn't seem to phase him. Hadn't phased him all year. Didn't phase him versus Texas. I don't think it's going to phase him. He's the X factor. They have to remain balanced on offense, okay? Win the turnover battle, or at least don't lose it. Draw even. And Michael Penix Jr., do your thing. All right, I'm going to give my 3 keys to Michigan, and then I'll give my prediction. You know what? I hear the music. Fine, Rico. All right, buddy. Love you, my man. We're going to take a commercial break. I'll give my 3 keys to Michigan winning this game, what they have to do, and then I'll give my official prediction. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of liberty for those accused and the pursuit of justice for those injured. Liberty Law Group's relentless trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and personal injury law. Navigating the legal system can be stressful, overwhelming, and full of uncertainty. Liberty Law Group is here to do the heavy lifting for you. We believe in treating every client with respect and understanding. When you're in need of legal assistance, trust Liberty Law Group to fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
John Henry's would like to remind you, if you haven't already, to unhook your outdoor hoses and check faucets for leaks so your pipes don't freeze. As the official plumber of the Huskers, you know who to call when a plumbing issue arises. From frozen pipes to clogged drains, we can help you protect your home this winter. Give
John Henry's
a call today to schedule at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Introducing The Outlet by Sartor Heyman. The Outlet brings you luxurious Sartor Heyman quality jewelry at unbeatable prices. Shop our expansive inventory of overstocked merchandise and a vast estate collection that just hasn't found its home yet. This is your chance to own stunning designer jewelry at a fraction of the cost. Elevate your style at The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Downtown at 12th and O or online at sartorheyman.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Are you looking for a new spot to relax and unwind? The Post, located on the south side of the Telegraph District on the corner of 20th and N Street, is perfect for a group hangout or a relaxing evening. The Post has plenty of exciting events open to the public, like Whiskey Wednesday and poker tournaments on Sundays. Looking for a spot for a private event? Ask them about their indoor patio. The Post, located at 20th and N Street in Lincoln.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, Husker fans. The good folks in Nebraska to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. All right. A little bit more about this teeny tiny little college football game that's going to be played tonight between Michigan and good old Washington. No. Not Washington, Washington, to be clear. All right. I was born in Hastings, but my dad moved when I was 3, and I grew up in the state of Washington, not Washington. All right. The 3 keys to Michigan winning the national championship tonight. All right. Number 1, how about much better special teams? And I honestly don't think this will be a big problem. If you watched Michigan this year, Okay, they were a team that was fine on special teams all year. They're not going to wow you one way or the other. They wowed us on New Year's Day with how bad it was, about single-handedly cost them the game. I got to give Michigan credit. Everything that I said about Washington is 100% true before the break. That I said before the break is 100% true. But think about Michigan. Think about how awful their special teams were. How can you play that bad and almost give the game away on special teams in the Rose Bowl against the SEC champs, Nick Saban and Alabama, and still find a way to win? That's scary with how good this team is as an overall whole, that they still found a way to win. Now, I'm not uber concerned. To me, it kind of strikes me as one of those, we had 4.5 weeks off. Maybe we didn't pay enough attention to this one area because it wasn't an issue all year. Now that they know it needs to be addressed, I fully expect it to not be an issue. But I'll tell you right now, they play like that again or even close on special teams tonight. And it wasn't that Washington was perfect on special teams, but if Michigan plays like that again tonight, they will lose. And it's that simple. All right, be who you are is my second key. Be who you are. In other words, control the line of scrimmage. Now, Washington's offensive line is obviously pretty good. They don't win the top offensive line award for the entire country. But Michigan, game in and game out for years, with the exception of maybe Georgia a couple of years ago. Even that TCU game, the CFP game they lost last year, they were better up front. I think they just had a couple of pick sixes, not that they threw to TCU, and then their defense kind of decided not to show up for a large part of the game. But if Michigan controls the trenches, if they can run the ball, and Washington's defense statistically is not great at all. They're not going to wow you. They're 120th in the country against the pass. I sat here and talked about how bad Texas's pass defense was at 96th in the country. Okay, so part of me wonders if Michigan's going to try to take advantage and not be who they are and try to throw the football against what is not a great Washington secondary. But let's be real. Steve Sarkisian in that Sugar Bowl flat out said in the live interview during the game that they were having a hard time moving the ball in the second half. I think Washington's defensive stats are a little skewed because they played really good teams this year, because they played really good offenses, and their offense put up so many points, other teams had to throw the ball and had to move and had to go fast and had to do certain things to try to keep up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Washington's defense is elite. I do think the stats are a little misleading because some of the things I just mentioned. Michigan can throw the ball. It's not their strength. Washington's pass defense is not great. Michigan has to stay with who they are. They need to control the trenches as much as possible. I mean, even that big Alabama offensive line that didn't just knock Georgia defenders off the ball in that SEC championship game. They blew them off the ball. They looked like they were exploding backwards. Those really good Georgia defensive linemen. That same offensive line versus Michigan couldn't block air when it came to protecting their quarterback, but they ran the ball for 172 yards. Part of that is they couldn't pass the ball, but they didn't have the success on the ground, okay, as they probably would have hoped. And I know 172 is a lot, but when you can't do anything else offensively, what did they have? 5 of their first 6 drives, Alabama was 3 and outs versus Michigan defense. Michigan's defense is good up front. Okay, so their offensive line is very good. I know they didn't win the top offensive line in the country award this year for a 3rd year in a row, but they're still one of the easily top 5, if not top 3 units. Be who you are, okay? Don't try to do too much and control the line of scrimmage. Number 3, find a way, okay? Get pressure on Michael Penix Jr. without having to blitz a ton, okay? And I'm not saying Michael Penix Jr. is Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, okay, he looks like a collegiate left-handed version of those guys, especially when I watch Texas. He makes such quick decisions. Peyton Manning never had a good offensive line. They were awful. They were always off. Anytime we played Indianapolis, I was licking my lips, and I always left the game. Oh, my God, I was so pissed because it was hard to touch the guy because even though the O-line was awful, you'd be back there in 2 seconds, the ball had already been gone like a second ago because it takes him 1 second to catch the ball, make a read, boom, 40 yards down the field, hitting Reggie Wayne or whoever he's hitting, Dallas Clark. It was insane. And obviously, Penix has a good offensive line. Tom Brady's pocket awareness was what drove me nuts. He got rid of the ball quick, but his pocket awareness. Like, how can you move at the exact right moment in time when I'm on your blind side every freaking time? What is this crap? How do you do that? So I'm not saying he's those guys. He's not even in the NFL yet. What I'm saying is what I saw against Texas was a guy who makes insanely fast decisions. And whenever Texas, they had 0 TFLs, Texas, 0 sacks. Okay. But whenever they were able to come free, part of the reason they weren't able to get to Penix much in their stats, as far as TFLs and sacks were as 0 as they are, is because Penix got rid of the ball quick and he makes fast reads. He can take off and run. With all of his injuries, he's not looking to do so, but when he runs, he can run. Okay, he's had 4 season-ending injuries, including 2 torn ACLs throughout his career. Okay, his pocket awareness is really good. He has the ability to run if you leave it there for him. And getting rid of the ball as quick as he does is crazy. And I talked a lot about this on the Big Ten show, but how you beat a guy like Tom Brady is what the Giants did. Okay, twice. They beat him in the Super Bowl twice with a similar game plan both times. Not exactly the same, but similar. They were able to get pressure with 4, which is going to be hard against the top offensive line in the country, which Washington has. Getting pressure with 4, which doesn't leave you exposed in the back end. Because Texas, I mean, Michael Penix Jr., well, he wasn't throwing the ball 5-10 yards. He was throwing it 20, 30, 40 yards downfield. Lasers, darts. Because when Texas blitzed, they were susceptible in the back end. I mean, it's a basic math. If you're blitzing, you have less guys in the back end. So they got to find a way to get pressure on Penix like they did against Melrose versus Alabama without blitzing as much. Otherwise, I think Penix will eat them alive. I am curious to see how Michigan matches up versus these receivers. If and how often they do blitz, and it's more man-to-man or one-on-one coverage or single high safety with one guy in the middle of the field, everyone's man-free across the board. How can they cover against by far the most dynamic wide receiver trio they've seen all year? So I'm curious to see. So my 3 keys for Michigan: number 1, much better special teams play. Number 2, be who you are. Stay true to who you are. Be patient. Okay. And control the line of scrimmage. All right. Like they've pretty much done in every game this year. And then find a way to pressure Michael Penix Jr. without leaving yourself susceptible to big plays on the back end. All right. Let's see what we got here. Final thoughts before I give my prediction. All right. And as always, be sure to check out gelandscapesupply.com. Send your questions, your comments, your concerns to this fine program, 402-464-5685. All right, Michigan running back Blake Corum has 1,111 rushing yards this year, 25 TDs. Okay. Penix has played against Michigan when he was at Indiana, because that's where he was at before he came to Washington. Okay. That might help a little bit, but I think this Washington team is so different than what he had at Indiana. I don't think it makes that big a difference, but at least he's played against Harbaugh and he's played against Michigan and maybe has an idea of what they might try to do. But I think what's around him is so different. I don't know it's going to play a huge role. All right. My prediction. It's tough for me because I really think Washington's really good. And that's why I predicted them over Texas. Not emphatically, not at all. But I did predict them over Texas. Okay. But I'm going to come back to something I said earlier. Washington has won 10 one-score games this year. That's way too many one-score games. And yes, they played a lot of ranked teams. Okay. But there were so many times I would watch them. I watched them in the last Apple Cup, Washington State. They're clearly significantly better than Washington State. Yet it came down to a last-second field goal. They were clearly better than Texas. Double digits most of the game. Okay, they were going back and forth between a double-digit, single-digit lead. It wasn't, they would take a 7-point lead and Texas would tie it. It was no. Washington would go up by double digits. Texas would bring it back to single digits. Yet it came down to the last play. I just think eventually, the fact that they know how to win those games is huge, but eventually I think it catches up to you. I think Michigan's going to win. Washington has the X factor. If Michael Penix Jr. goes off, that's the X factor. Barring that, what wins games, what wins championships is defense and the trenches. Michigan as an overall whole, when you incorporate the defensive line into this, I believe they have the advantage in the trenches. Washington's offensive line's really good, obviously, but as an overall whole, when you incorporate offensive and defensive lines, Michigan has the advantage, in my opinion, and Michigan has the better defense. I do think Washington's defense is better than people give them credit for, but Michigan has the better defense. You got the X factor in Penix. You got the other team who's going to probably win. I'm predicting the advantage in the trenches. Absolutely has the better defense. What is the difference? And why am I going to predict the team I'm predicting? Because I think this is the one possession game that Washington's not going to be able to win because it's just finally going to catch up with them. And I have Michigan. I made this prediction on my Big Ten show as well. I have Michigan 31-28. And I think it's going to be an awesome national championship game. I love the clash in styles. I love a team that didn't run the ball once in the entire second half versus Penn State, which was the number one rushing defense in the country at the time, by the way, on that particular Saturday. And Michigan playing a team who's the number one offense in the country, a passing offense in the entire country. Okay. And there are people, if I can find my notes again, who have kind of likened this 2019 Washington offense. I wouldn't liken the team as a whole, but the offense, and I think it's fair to do so, because I think this offensive line is better than what LSU had in 2019 to the 2019 LSU team. When you think about Joe Burrow and all the wide receivers that they had that were first-round picks and in the NFL, I think that's fair to do offense to offense. I absolutely do. Okay. Defensively, LSU wasn't phenomenal that year, but they had the edge on defense over this Washington team. But it's not like LSU was knocking people's socks off on defense. They didn't have to either. But I'm going to go with Michigan. And I'm going to go with Michigan for the reasons that I mentioned. 31-28. I love the clashing styles. I love we're going to throw the ball over the yard and run just to keep you balanced. Then the other team, we're going to run the ball first and maybe throw if we have to. You know, if Michigan didn't have to throw the ball the entire game, they would absolutely do it. I love an offense first-oriented matchup versus a team that's defense-oriented first. Okay. Now, a lot of times when you get clashes in styles like this, the initial reaction is it's going to be a great game. And that's what I think is going to happen because I think they're the two best teams in the country. And I think it's going to be fun to watch. But sometimes when you get a clash of styles like this, one style, the team is so much better at that particular style, whether that style is actually a superior style or not may not matter, but they're so much better at that style. Sometimes you end up with a 30-10 game. I mean, I harken back to that Fiesta Bowl, and that Nebraska team's probably the greatest team of all time, 95 Nebraska. But Florida was by far the best passing team in the country. Nebraska, the best running team in the country. Nebraska had the better defense by far. But sometimes a clash of styles, it doesn't always turn out the way you want. I mean, it could easily end up 30-10 or something like that tonight. It's not what I'm predicting. I'm going Michigan. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm going 31-28. So what's going to happen is Washington's going to win 50-10, and I will have been utterly and completely wrong, and I will completely and utterly own it if that is the case. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot more to talk about. Not a lot of time to talk about it because that's what happens every day on this show. It's a loaded show. I talk as fast as I can, and I still can't get it all in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to pay some bills. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale, sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends, right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln. Concrete Industries, a Nebco company, has immediate job openings for precast production laborers. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $20 per hour and a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings. Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. What do we got? About 8 to 10 minutes left here. All right, couple of updates on other sports. So if you hadn't heard, all right, Nash Hutmaker, star nose tackle for Nebraska's defense, is now on the wrestling team. Now, if you weren't aware, he won 4 straight state titles in high school, South Dakota, 166-0 in high school. He was the number 1 ranked heavyweight, wrestling heavyweight in the entire country coming out of high school. Okay. Now, he won his final 73 matches by pin in high school. 71 in the first period, the second longest pin streak in the history of high school wrestling. Hutmaker was 43-0 as a senior. With each pin with each win via pin, including 30 within 1 minute. Good God. All right. He won the Junior Scully's Award as the nation's best high school pinner. He went 33-0 as a junior with 32 pins and one forfeit in route. Yeah, forfeit. How is there not more forfeits in there? All right. En route, I'm opting out of wrestling Nash. I'm going to opt out. It has nothing to do with I'm running scared. I'm opting out. All right. En route to earning a spot on the 2018-19 USA Today All-USA Boys Wrestling Team, he was 46-0 as the state champion as a sophomore and 44-0 as a freshman state champion. Outside of high school competition, Hutmaker was a 4-time All-American who won several event titles, including pinning 3 of his 4 opponents en route to the 2019 USA Wrestling Junior Folk Style National Championship and winning the 2017 USA Wrestling Cadet Freestyle National Championship. So he had his first match, all right? He had to lose like 20, 30, 40 pounds. Had his first match this weekend, and he won in 52 seconds against his opponent from Wyoming. So pretty good start. A lot of football players, a lot of coaches in attendance. There was pretty much like a stone cold type reaction. The glass hit, and the crowd goes crazy. When Hutmaker won, there was no actual glass music. I just envisioned. That's why my show starts with that music, by the way. Okay. And basically everyone went crazy. All the football folks, coaches, players, etc., that were there to support him. All right. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. I'll be honest with you. When I heard he was going to do this, now, okay, my experience of wrestling, like actual wrestling, is getting the smackdown laid on me in the middle of my living room by all my kids. I never win. It's embarrassing at this point. All right, he's 166-0. I'm like 0-166. My kids always win. That's the extent of my experience with wrestling. But I've known a lot of wrestlers. And when I heard he was going to do this, I'm like, oh God, cutting weight would be awful. And then, is he going to stay around 300? Is he going to try to get back up to where he was during the season and put that weight back on? Because that's got to be hard. You know, and he's doing this during winter conditioning as well. So that has to be a challenge, trying to balance all those things, get better at football, be able to wrestle. So I love that he's doing this. I admire how hard it must be. And I truly don't have any idea. Okay, certainly not firsthand. All the wrestlers that I knew growing up and all the way up through college as well. Okay, they would always tell me that wrestling was the toughest sport they'd ever done, whether it was football, basketball, baseball, wrestling. That was always what, obviously, the wrestlers, but even guys who were state champion wrestlers on the football team in Nebraska, okay, they would always tell me wrestling was harder through high school. So nothing but support, respect, excitement for what he's doing. And I'm excited to see what he can do and how far he can go this year. All right. A little bit of sad news. At least it's sad for me. But I wish her nothing but the absolute best. All right. Lincoln Arneal reports Allie Battenhorst is entering the transfer portal, volleyball player. She will graduate in May and will look for a program to play beach and indoor. The 6'5" outside hitter appeared in 30 matches this year and averaged 2.25 kills per set while hitting 189. She will have 1 season remaining. She was always kind of, and there are certain players you think of when you think of the volleyball team. She was always one of those players' faces who popped into my mind when I would think of the Nebraska volleyball team. So sad because she's leaving. Wish her nothing but the absolute best, though. I think that goes without saying. That's pretty obvious. So best of luck to her. And honestly, sometimes when people leave, I'll be honest, I don't want to say I don't care, but I'll pay attention once they're out the door. Like, best of luck to you. See ya, no ill will, but I'm not going to intrinsically follow you for any particular reason. She's someone I'm going to follow and see how she does. Again, she's one of those faces that would pop into my mind when I would think of the Nebraska volleyball program. And I'm just going to be rooting for her. All right. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but there is this other league that plays football called the NFL, and their playoffs are set up. You got the Dolphins going to play the Chiefs on Saturday, the Browns and the Texans on Saturday. Dolphins 11-6 versus the Chiefs 11-6. Tyreek Hill returns to Kansas City. That is box office must see. Now, I know they've played since, but this is a playoff game in Kansas City. I am going to be watching this game because it's an NFL playoff game, but if for no other reason than to see Tyreek back in KC. All right, the Browns 11-6 go to the Texans. Houston is in the playoffs with a rookie quarterback facing the team they traded Deshaun Watson to. That's an interesting storyline as well. Lots of storylines right now heading into the NFL playoffs. Sunday, you got the Steelers 10-7 versus the Bills. If you watched that Bills-Miami Dolphins game last night, that was a fun game to watch, and home field matters. When it comes to the college football playoff next year in the 12-team format, one reason, because a lot of people are like, oh, just go 16 teams. Or when I said, hey, there's really only going to be 2 major conferences going forward, no disrespect to whatever's left of the ACC and what the Big 12's doing. By the way, the Big 12 had zero 5-star players commit to them on early National Signing Day in December. So it's hard for me to put them on the same level as the SEC and Big 10. I said, why not go to 14 teams? Why not give the top 2 teams, make them conference champions, give them the bye, which would intrinsically be the Big 10 SEC champ almost every year. Reward them, like reward Michigan for being Ohio State at the end of the year. Otherwise, if there's 16 teams, you don't get that bye. I know you get home field. Home field matters. Buys matter. And games at the end of the year matter if you give them a reason to, which is buys, which is home field advantage. It's one reason I don't want to go to 16 teams, because I want the conference championships to matter. I want the rivalries at the end of the year to matter, because you're fighting for that bye. You're fighting for the home field when you do play in the playoff. All right. Let's go Sunday. Steelers versus Bills. Bills jumped up to the 2 seed after their regular season finale went over Miami. Then you got the Packers versus Cowboys, 2 of the most recognizable, if not the 2 most recognizable brands in all the entire NFL. Okay, Packers 9-8, Cowboys 12-5. Packers make the playoffs in their first year post Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Sunday, Rams 10-7 versus Lions. Good grief, more storylines. Detroit won the NFC North for the first time since 1993. And made the playoffs for the first time since 2016, looking for their first playoff win since 1992, facing off against their former quarterback, Matthew Stafford, who they drafted number 1 overall. He goes to LA, okay, wins the Super Bowl. By the way, Jared Goff's going to play the team that drafted him number 1 overall too. Jared versus LA, Matthew versus Detroit. This is phenomenal storylines with the NFL playoffs. All right, Monday. So I know Monday night, I know why they do this. Okay. But there should not be a playoff game on Monday Night Football. And I'm going to get shouted down because it's phenomenal TV and I love watching it as a consumer. As a consumer, I absolutely prefer this. But it has to be such a disadvantage. What if you get matched up against a team that just played on Saturday and they got a 2-day rest? You're playing a day short. Okay. They're playing with an extra day of rest. Talking about rest here, potentially. And it's at night too. It's not like you're playing Sunday at noon or Monday at the 1:00 game. Okay. But anyways, I know people aren't going to care because it's better TV. But when it comes to competitive fairness, I don't see how that's fair, but whatever. Who cares? Eagles 11-6 versus Buccaneers 9-8. Eagles started the season 10-1 and lost 5 of their last 6 games. Okay. I do think they're going to win this. I think the Ravens are the best team in football right now, but the Eagles may have the best overall roster, top to bottom roster, but the Ravens have Lamar Jackson. They got to buy. They got the number 1 seed in the AFC. So they got to buy this first round. He might be the difference maker. The question is he going to win a playoff game? He hasn't done it yet. He's won the league MVP. Okay. He's been a dynamic impact joystick type playmaker. Throws the ball pretty well too, by the way, but he's never won a playoff game. If he doesn't win a playoff game or make a run in the playoffs this year, I'm rooting for him. I think they're the best team. I think he's the difference maker, but he's got to be the difference maker, much like Michael Penix Jr. for Washington. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got a case of the Mondays, but in a good way, and I hope you do too. Until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red, and always remember to throw the ball.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the